Hello. So we're going to be walking through some helpful things in regards to how to most effectively work from home. We have three questions we're going to address, and I'm going to try to provide two or three helpful ideas on how to be most effective. I'm by no means an expert. We're all been kind of thrown into this, into the fire of figuring out how to be efficient and working in the manner that we are with this pandemic. But hopefully this is helpful to you, and would love to hear your ideas. You can post those as we post this video. We'd love to hear what you have to say as well. So the first question I'm going to hit, I'm going to have two or three things to offer up for each one of the questions. First question of three is, how do I stay motivated and focused working at home? So the first thing that I want to share, what I found to be really critical, especially in this time, is to have a to-do list. So I'm using a Microsoft Outlook platform, and I'm using that in such a way that it's really helping me stay focused on what I'm trying to do. At home, there's a lot of distractions, a lot of things going on, and I'm trying to use that to-do list to really keep me focused and being productive, throughout the day. So those daily goals are really helping me move through and make sure that I'm making the most use of this time that we have. The second thing is not to neglect time of God's Word and prayer. So some of the things that we're doing at home, we're using a devotional called Table Talk, which is an outstanding devotional, and it really has two different pieces to it. So there's an element of a daily devotional that walks through an expositional style of walking through a book of the Bible. Then there's also a theme for each month. So you get a booklet in the mail. And providentially, this month of March was on fear, and had articles within the magazine on fear of disease, fear of death, fear of financial crisis, all these different topics written by church leaders and pastors across the U.S. that we're aligned with in terms of theology, and I have found it very helpful personally, as well as discussions within the family, and we're also using it within our community group. And so we're using it as a daily devotional as a community group, and as we come together, we're talking about those things that we're learning. It's also been interesting walking through Table Talk as we're going through 2 Thessalonians. And what's interesting about 2 Thessalonians is Paul was addressing an issue about the church. There was some false teaching that Jesus had already come back or was coming back in the near future. So consequently, many of them were not working because they were thinking, hey, what's the point? And also they were not being productive components of the community and contributing to what needed to be done. So Paul was addressing that, talking about don't be idle. He also was addressing the fact of, that's bad teaching, that you should not be, we're not to be of the world, but we're to be in the world and being positive contributors to the culture. And I think that's very relevant to what we're going on in our day. They thought they're in the end times, and there were some issues that have developed because of that, and I think that teaching is relevant to what we're going through right now with this pandemic. And then the last thing is staying active during the workday. So you might think I'm a little bit freaky about this, but during the workday, I think the way we're wired and the way we can be most efficient is we're not wired to go 4 hours at a time of work. I think the way God has made us, He's made us to focus for short sprints, 1 hour here, 45 minutes. And I break up those 45 to 1 hour segments of focused time with an exercise. I might do 10 burpees or do some push-ups, just staying active, keeping the blood flowing. And it helps me just relieve some of the pent-up stress, perhaps, of going through some of the meetings and things during the day, and also helps me stay focused and engaged when I am working. And I think we're not wired to be sitting all day, and that being active throughout the day is I think, helpful physically and also physiologically. So I find that very helpful as well. And even if it's just going for a walk or going upstairs to, every 45 minutes to an hour just to move around, move your body around and do something to stay active. So those three things are some of the things that I find helpful. Have a to-do list. Don't neglect time in God's Word. You can find that devotional at tabletalkmagazine.com, and finally, staying active throughout the day. So that is question number 1.